Guys, so good to see y'all.
Good to see you too.
I do have a little tidbit for you guys.
Okay.
The first movie interview we ever did was in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
In 2012.
Yes.
21 Jump Street.
No kidding. That's really cool.
It was the South by one where Channing and Jonah had just done SNL the night before. They show up in the full cop outfit.
Yep, that's how they said they were going to do all their press.
Yeah.
And that was a great time, and the screening for that movie was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was the most fun I've ever had in a movie theater.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, starting off with this, the Miles Morales character, what was it about his story that intrigued you to make this film?
I mean, he's so cool, and he's got such an amazing background. You know, he's got both of his parents. He has a bonus uncle, and and he's just so sweet. And we really we just like fell for this guy, you know. And I love how human it is to tell a story about a kid who's got this potential and doesn't quite know how to realize it. And his family are like kind of worried about him, like, is he gonna live up to all of our expectations? And he's worried about that. And they all love each other, that's never in question. But they're trying to figure out how do we help this kid? And that's kind of what the whole movie is about. You know, it's like, how does Miles cull the greatest hits of all the people in his life and form it into the kind of person that he wants to be? And we thought that was like a really like sweet message that kind of gives you some bottom to this like really crazy movie.
Guys, it's good seeing you.
Seeing you too.
Yeah, good seeing you again, man.
Yes, yes.
So coming out of this movie, I went up to a studio rep. I was like, y'all got to do a best animated push for this thing. It is awesome.
Thanks,
it looks so good. What I like the most about it is it's not a movie with comic book characters in it. It's an actual comic book movie.
Yeah,
you get
that's
what I'm
interesting.
saying?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's really what our directors wanted. They said from the beginning, they wanted it to be like a comic book comes to life.
Yeah.
And they wanted the viewers to experience what they loved about reading comics, but see it as a movie. And seeing it, we saw it a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, I get what you mean. It actually feels like that.
Yeah.
How did y'all make it? Like, so is it just voiceover? Was there motion capture? Like, how did all that come together?
They had a camera on us, like you guys have a camera on us, and we do our motions, and yeah, we do our job. Not even focus. I don't focus on the camera. But you know, the animation, wow, you know. But now you got the wow, and now you know.
They would animate around us as much as they could, and you know, we would just honestly for us, we would just do what we do. But the animators were working essentially 24/7 for 2 years on this, so it was constantly evolving.
So did y'all record together when y'all were doing it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it was great. It actually helped a lot to be together because it allowed us to kind of find our own voices opposite each other, because at the core of this there's a lot of this, you know, friendship in it.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to kind of act together and see, you know, we didn't know each other at all.
Totally.
How was this movie made? Because I've never seen this
don't
type
know.
of animation.
It's crazy.
I've never seen this type of animation before.
It's a combination of both CG and 2D hand-drawn artistry, and with a bunch of new techniques as far as making you know, comic book style textures, be the lighting sources and the shadows and the rendering of everything, feeling the artist's hand, trying to make every frame look like it was a painting. It ends up being about 4 times harder to do. Doing 1 second of animation takes as long as it would normally take to do 4 seconds of animation. So it's really hard, but we wanted people to feel like they were walking inside of a comic book and it came to life and feel like something you'd never seen before.
So this is like a Peter Parker that we haven't seen before. He's a little bit, I would say, more flawed, I guess, in a way.
He is definitely flawed. I think it's Peter Parker who's forgotten that he's got all these powers because he's only seen the bad of it recently. And the thing that attracted him to Miles is the necessity to go home. And I think he sees a chance in this kid, but I think he's really just trying to use Miles at first. And then along the way, he realizes, man, not only is there something great in him, but there's still something great in me. And I'm not done yet. And so they have this great, you know, while he's learning to become Spider-Man, I think Peter Parker's remembering how great it is to be Spider-Man.
What is it about the Miles Morales story that attracted you to the project?
When I first saw Miles Morales as a young lad, I was taken by what he looked like. You know, not just the fact that he was black. That was the first, like, oh, is he black up there? And then I looked in the mirror and I'm like, wait, but his facial structure looks exactly like mine. Like, that could be me if I was animated. If somebody just drew my face, that's who is up there right now. And years later, I end up having my own Miles Morales movie that really tells the story about Miles Morales and who he really is and how he becomes Miles Morales, the Spider-Man. And I feel more than honored. I feel blessed. I feel chosen.
How did you determine which characters in the Spider-Verse you're going to include? Villains and Spider-Man.
I mean, I guess we just tried to figure out who would look the weirdest next to one another. Because there's frames in the movie where you've got Spider-Noir next to Spider-Ham, next to Spider-Gwen, next to Penny, and you just go like, what movie is this? We love that look, that it just feels like people from different walks coming together. And I think it's a really neat way to support that story.
Why do people relate with Spider-Man more than any other superhero?
Well, I think part of it is because the mask covers the whole face, so anybody can feel like, oh, that's me. I could be behind that mask, and we sort of took that to its logical extreme on this, where we were saying like it could be anybody that gets bitten by that spider. And
if
here's
you're
a bunch
black
of,
and Puerto Rican, or if you're a Japanese American girl from the future, or right, anybody can embody this character.
And I think what's cool about the movie is that you don't have to know anything about comic books or superheroes at all. You can walk into this movie and it's just a coming of age story with a lot of action and heart and comedy and fun and warmth and it's a universal idea that anybody can become a hero. And I think that's what Stan Lee was trying to do with Steve Ditko back in the 60s, and it's what this movie's trying to do today.
Also, Spider-Man has the biggest eyes of any superhero, which makes him the sweetest and the cutest and the guy that you relate to the most.
The holiday season's coming up. Is there any gifts that y'all want?
I would love a statue of Miles Morales.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
DJ?
I don't know.
You don't know. All right. Number one movie. How about that?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, number one movie. There's the answer.
Yes.
You got to cue me on that one. I would have stole that answer.
Yeah.